letting this happen. We are complicit as American people. So even if there is a new president, Gavin Newsom, AOC, whoever happens to be in office, it's not gonna be the same because they're gonna know this could happen again.
Yeah, 100%. And they're gonna be worried about it. That maybe if Vance doesn't win, maybe he wins in 4 years, or maybe President Tucker Carlson. Like, they now know that unless, with the end of Trump, assuming he ends, MAGA also dies and the Republican Party, becomes sane again, they always have to be worried that this could come back in again. And I would be worried about that if I was them. Well, that is all the time that we have for today's show. Viviana, thank you as always for giving us your time. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Thank you to all the fans. See you guys next time.
Always glad to have you here. Everybody out there, we're not technically done. I mean, I'm gonna take about a 36-minute break, but then on YouTube for our tier 3 members, we're doing our monthly member hangout. We're gonna be chit-chatting, seeing what's going on, and a little bit of politics, mostly non-political. So I'd like to see as many of you as possible there in just a little bit. Tomorrow, Brett is going to be back. We're gonna be doing both our garbage people of the week and our heroes of the week. So head over to the post tab on YouTube and you can vote for that. For now though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
Welcome to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. I am Sharon Reed, the one and only Dr. Elliott Morgan. I mean, are we there?
So close.
It's fine. Listen, I don't know why you want to be all technical about it. I know a lot of people these days who just make it up as they go along. Okay, they don't
I'm right
have the
behind him.
credentials.
That's the way to go.
So, do you think he has the credentials to run the Department of War? No, but you just fake it till you make it. And I'm
I
not
know.
suggesting there's any kind of, you're nothing like that guy, but I'm just saying,
Oh,
don't
thank
be
you.
so technical. You're smart,
Appreciate
you're
it.
credible, we appreciate you, and you're actually overqualified for these jobs.
Thank you. I'll take that
Um,
and put that in my pocket.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, Sharon. How are you doing? It's a nice
I
day.
don't know yet. I feel a little loopy, extra loopy. I'm usually
Yeah.
loopy,
Must be
but we'll
going
see
around.
what happens. I'll probably get angry a few times. Oh, but Katt Williams. Let's get into our first story. I do love him. I've done so many stories on Katt Williams, being a journalist here in Georgia. He was once banned in about 3 or 4 counties. They said, you're not to go in this county, that county. He had to probably drive all the way around, do some things, avoid airspace like Netanyahu. Only he's not accused of war crimes. I love Katt Williams. Anyway, Katt Williams and Donald Trump in the same story. Here's why. Donald Trump gets angry at his own made up story, and Katt Williams roast him. Watch.
The great George Washington, all the way to, well, I think we have to rate him above me. So he's less than great, less than George. Somebody went up there, they say, you're the 3rd best president in the United States. This was on television, 3rd best. And they said, who are the first 2? George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. And I got extremely angry at this man. You can't, it's going to be tough to beat, Mr. Senator. It's going to be, John, it's going to be very tough to beat Washington and Lincoln, but we're going to give it a try, right? Hey, they didn't put out 8 wars, 9 coming, all right? We put out 8 wars, and the 9th is coming, believe it or not.
No, you didn't. You probably will start another war and then attempt to put it out and get credit for it. But you didn't, he didn't end all these things. But anyway, I'll let Katt get after him. Here's the thing. Well, there's more. Let's just get back into it because there's so much more to enjoy. It's delicious.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. Now they're rewriting the books. Trump was treated the worst, Andrew Jackson second, and Abraham Lincoln third, but I definitely took top spot. You know this, Governor Moore, he'd love to see you. He came over to me, hugged me, shook my hand. You were there. He said, sir, you're the greatest president of my lifetime.
In that conversation, did you ever tell him he was the greatest president in your lifetime?
I know this is breaking news to everybody, but the president is not telling the truth.
Who should we believe? Governor of Maryland or Donald Trump? I mean, remember when you were in grade school and they would talk about the president and you probably weren't even thinking about or Democrat, Republican, this or that. You held the presidency in such high regard, wide-eyed kids just sitting at our little plastic chairs in our desk. And we said, oh, the president, how much money does the president make? I once asked. This is such a honorable position, but not anymore. Okay. Not anymore. So Donald Trump maybe was referring to this guy. Or that guy. Katt Williams even pointed this out. Watch.
Trump said this week, he spoke to the president of Puerto Rico and the president of the Virgin Islands. Sir, you are the president of Puerto Rico, and you are also the president of the Virgin Islands. So the question is, who the f*** was you talking to?
I mean, don't you want to know who Donald Trump was speaking to? Because you were not speaking to the president of the Virgin Islands, and you were not speaking to the president of Puerto Rico. Because they don't exist. So who are you talking to? I'd love for maybe it was another comedian who set him up. Anyway, let's recap here. In his latest bluster at a Rose Garden party for his Republican buddies who have ceded control of Congress to him, he claimed he was the greatest president of all time. I'm going to get through these prompts, but I want to just say this. If you have to refer to yourself, well, then Muhammad Ali did refer to himself as the greatest, right? And we believed it, and he was. So I forget what I was going to say about you're not supposed to refer to yourself as the greatest. Somebody else should declare it. Anyway, he claimed he was the greatest president of all time, but his actual words were almost indecipherable. The great George Washington all the way to, well, I think we have to rate him above me, less than great, less than George Trump boasted as he pointed to the crowd mid-ramble. Decline. And for people who point out, well, Sharon, sometimes we don't understand what you're saying. I'm not the leader of the free world, but thank you. I'm in my home studio, on streaming television, which I take very seriously, mostly. I'm not the leader of the free world. So if I don't make sense or I have decline, it's okay. Maybe my blood sugar's low. I'm not the leader of the free world. Somebody went up and said, you're the third best president of the United States. This was on television, third best. And they said, who were the best? George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. And I got extremely angry at this man, Trump recalled with a nervous laugh to mask his anger. This is nuts. Then he seemed to get distracted. Well, I know a little bit about that. And momentarily lost focus. Yeah. It's going to be tough to beat Mr. Senator John. It's going to be very tough to beat Washington and Lincoln, but we're going to give it a try. Unclear which Senator John Trump randomly decided to make a part of his act, but he closed out with leaning on his go-to brag that's been fact-checked on numerous occasions. Hey, they didn't put out 8 wars, 9 coming. We put out 8 wars, and the 9th is coming, believe it or not, he said. And then the Trump followers, his subjects, loyal as they are, gave him a standing ovation. Elliott, what the hell is wrong with this man? Another day, comedians are now pointing out. If I were just going to a Katt Williams act, and I mean, they embellish. You watch SNL and this stuff. This doesn't mean it's accurate. They just kind of, you know what you guys do, okay? But this is verbatim what this guy said. What the hell is going on here?
I mean,
Okay?
I really,
know what I'm talking about.
if Trump's mind was a theme park, I would be like a season pass holder. I just want to go ride the rides and see what he's experiencing because it seems like an absolute blast. I'm sure there's a lot of churros up there that are probably all wrapped. Maybe that's what his brain is made of, is just like a pretzel shaped churro at this point. But I mean, Katt Williams, I love dearly. He's one of those folks that as an entertainer, when he starts talking, everybody listens regardless of what they think about him. He's like the quintessential entertainer. I would not say that Trump is the quintessential president. I would also rate, if we're playing this game, FDR maybe a little higher, or maybe most of the other presidents higher than Donald Trump. And I also don't know if ranking them according to best is the way to go, because I think maybe just ranking them according to least horrible might be slightly more effective. But yeah, I mean, God bless Trump. I'm glad that he's going to go off into that sunset believing he is the greatest thing in the world, as opposed to how he's always felt, which is, oh yeah, exactly the same.
Yeah, and you know what? I do think, I'm trying to think of all the dastardly deeds the others who came before him did. At this point, the guy who did this was this Nixon. Okay,
Yeah,
he can come back. Come on back.
Why not?
Okay,
Bring them
he
all back.
made one mistake or 2 or 3.
Yeah, and also
break-in.
I like how you brought up how Trump said, the 8 wars that he's ended. I'd love to see him list them. And then he kind of, I do think, gave away the game by saying the 9th is coming. It's like, wait, so are you lining these up just to knock them down? I don't think that's how you're supposed to do wars. But, what do I know? I'm not the greatest president in the United States that's ever existed.
There was FDR had the New Deal. That was consequences to this day, right? And Trump's had, well, he's disappearing folks and weed whackers and stuff. We'll see how history treats that. All right, let's get to an apology now. A lot of people think this is long overdue. Stephen A. I know Stephen A. a little bit. He's just saying things to be saying them. Here's the update. Stephen A. finally apologizes to Jasmine Crockett. Here's the first part of that apology.
Wanted to take a moment because I saw something disturbing in regards to President Donald Trump and how he came at Representative Jasmine Crockett. And I wanted to take this opportunity to attack this issue as it pertained to me and Jasmine Crockett, because I personally have had an issue with how things have been misconstrued and misinterpreted. But at the end of the day, I have to own it. And that's what I'm going to do today. And so when somebody says to me, Stephen, rather than point to her and her verbiage and her language and how she talked about the president, what about how he talks? I have no problem with that. I can understand that. And if that is the reason that everybody is in an uproar, that is fine. And I have no problem apologizing to that to my sister because, damn it, I want her to know I don't feel that way about her.
Okay. Before we get into the rest, Elliott, rate the apology. The apology so far. Was that good? Decent?
I mean,
what?
I would probably give it, if it's in sincerity, maybe I would give it like an 8 in terms of delivery and what he actually said. Maybe like a 7, 6.5.
Yeah. Maybe didn't go far enough. We'll see.
Maybe.
Before I play the rest of the apology, let's remind you of, the original.
How Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself, I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying, that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. Here we are, and the word disrespect comes in, and people try to engage with words, like disrespect and implying misogyny and all of this other nonsense. Stop it. Stop it. Can we be grown-ups and deal with what the real issue is involving what I said? Willie D., Roland Martin, Bakari Sellers, and...
What's the countdown? All right. I have a little wager going, how long it's going to take for Stephen A. to apologize for his latest comments.
That's why Doc keeps his money. He just keeps multiplying because he has a way of kind of figuring out how this thing's going to play out. Here's the rest of the apology.
If you came to me and you said to me that it came across as a bit dismissive, Stephen, you should have been more protective of her than that, because look at how he speaks. Look at how they act on Capitol Hill towards her. I understand that. I get it now with Trump feeding into that nonsense, giving him fodder or ammunition to continue to go out there and talk about our black women that way. I got it. I don't like that at all. I don't want to be associated with nothing like that. And I apologize. I can look Jasmine Crockett in the face and say, I'm sorry for any kind of noise I caused in your direction. I got it. And when Trump came at her like that, I said, damn it. I was pissed off because I said, that's what they're talking about. When they're saying, you know what, when you question something about her, it's going to invite that. I understand.
I wonder if this is part of the reason he only got a 7 from you, Elliott. I mean, what the hell took so long? I mean, this is not the first black woman Donald Trump has disrespected. There were the football players. He called their moms bees, right? He called their mothers bees. on and on and on. But I'll give you some more. Stephen A. Smith on Wednesday apologized to Representative Jasmine Crockett for accusing the Congresswoman of using street verbiage. Last week, Smith offered his harsh critique of Crockett during an episode of his politics-focused Sirius XM show, Straight Shooter. During that rant, Smith cited various examples, we'll say, of Crockett talking about her political enemies in a way that he considered inappropriate. Smith claimed Crockett's rhetoric was for the streets, argued that it was not helping the constituents of her district. He gave her, he kind of chin checked her. Okay, if anybody's familiar with that. Look, I don't believe he's sorry, and sometimes I'm not even sure he believes what's coming out of his mouth, Elliott. He's doing a show. He did it for the show. And I think that the blowback was a lot. It was getting to be like a bunch of LeBrons coming at him after a game, confronting him for talking about Bronny. He had a bunch of black men and women saying, excuse me? I even think perhaps, and this is not in any way to bring up children, but here I go bringing up his beautiful daughter, Samantha, who's made appearances on his show. She probably chin checked him and said, what are you doing? Pops, say you're sorry. So he did. No harm, no foul, Elliott?
No harm, no foul, but I that I guess is in the eye of the beholder. I do think this might be kind of a microcosm for a bigger conversation that is always happening, or at least it has been recently on the left with like, well, don't say that this way. Don't express yourself in whatever way it is, because then they'll come after you. But it's like, they're gonna come after you anyway. And Trump has shown that time and time again. And it's like, you see this with a lot of the mainstream Democratic leaders of, let's lean into the center, let's lean right, so that, then they'll like us and then we can move forward together. But I think this is a fantasy. And I think what Jasmine Crockett is doing is just calling it like she sees it. And she actually has, I think, more thought behind what she's saying than oftentimes Stephen Smith does, because as you're saying, he's on a broadcast. It's just a stream of consciousness. So
yeah, I think you sum it up beautifully. And here's the thing, and it's weird to say this about politicians, but there's some authenticity there for her. And instead of, like you said, parsing and picking, don't say this, do that. How about just tell us what you believe and be authentic? Just be, right. Ironically, what's his thing called? Straight Shooter? Is that Stephen A's podcast? Why not just be a straight shooter? Why are you making? And by the way, when the Democrats were in charge and Republicans were being obstructionists and yada, yada, I didn't hear Stephen A saying, well, if you would just work with the guy who's in charge, maybe you'd get, if you just be nice about it. They were talking about his son. They said he was basically Weekend at Bernie's gone. They said he was they were carrying him around a corpse and having auto pen. I didn't hear Stephen A say anything. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, imagine if the advisors to Donald Trump at the beginning of his first campaign had been like, hey, man, tone it down a little bit. What attracted people to Trump was that he just said exactly what was on his mind. So maybe Jasmine Crockett should just continue to say whatever is on her mind. I don't know. That's my strategy, I guess.
Yeah. And I think the guy who called one female candidate in the primary, called her ugly, and he referenced Rand Paul's face. That guy can handle it. He'll be fine. Okay, I know he's very sensitive. He'll be fine. All right, let's move on to this one. New York. NYPD cops swerved into a black man on a scooter. And wouldn't you know it, they lied about it. Went and told big lies. According to a lawsuit, NYPD cops swerved into a black man on a scooter and then tried to blame him with a bizarre lie until the video dropped. New York City police officers claimed they were trying to avoid the collision when an unmarked NYPD patrol car swerved from a middle lane into a bicycle lane in 2023. They crashed head-on into the black man on a scooter, which sent him into their windshield head first. Ugh. He was unconscious on the street. Did surveillance video prove the cops to be lying? Well, look at this. Why are you lying? What are you doing here? There's more cameras in New York, I would guess, than any other city in the world. Wednesday, the 40-year-old victim, Delani Davis, filed a lawsuit in federal court against the NYPD, accusing the officers of excessive force, malicious prosecution, denial of a fair trial, failure to intervene, and negligence. Lawsuit states that the cops who struck Davis were part of the department's community response team. If this is how they're responding to the community, please, let's go ahead and disband this. Might as well be the Jump Out Boys, Red Dogs. They had those in Atlanta. Community response team is made up of dirty cops, described in the claim as a secretive unit of plainclothes officers whose history of misconduct has been well documented. So you are the Red Dogs, just a different name, different city. Lawsuit also accuses the NYPD of implementing a policy encouraging officers to use their patrol cars as weapons, even for low-level traffic infractions. In Davis's case, he was riding the scooter on a public street to a store to get his cell phone repaired when he noticed he was being followed by a car that turned out to be an unmarked police car, even though he did not know that at the time. See why this is probably not the best idea? Low-level stuff going on, and this is how you want to act. He drove a short distance past the store before turning around and driving back to the store in the bicycle lane. Meanwhile, the unmarked patrol car that had been following him, driven by NYPD officer Nicholas Leandrakis, spotted Davis in the bicycle lane and swerved his car into its path, striking it head on. That's what you did. Listed as defendants are Leandrakis, Shamari Roberts, Pronab Adakari, Ernest Hernandez, Mijong Zhu, Ellis Rivera, Andrew Mahoney, Nazir Nazari. Officers are all members of the community response team. They're all accused of being part of the cover-up, including what they said about Davis. Also listed as defendants are John Chell, NYPD chief of department at the time, as well as NYPD Deputy Commissioner Kaz Doctry. They're accused of implementing the policy encouraging officers to use their patrol cars as weapons. That, for our friends at Atlanta Black Star. Incident took place in the afternoon of August 28, 2023. Davis left his friend's house on a scooter to get his phone repaired at Boost Mobile Store, 200 East 2nd Street, Manhattan. He noticed the unmarked cop car following him as he was traveling southbound on Avenue D before he turned right on East 2nd Street. As Mr. Davis rode eastbound in the bike lane and approached the Boost Mobile, defendant Leandrakis quickly swerved his unmarked NYPD vehicle out of the middle lane of vehicular traffic and directly into the bike lane, intentionally striking Mr. Davis head on with the NYPD vehicle. That collision threw Mr. Davis into the air, sent him crashing down on the hood of the NYPD vehicle. Mr. Davis's head struck the windshield with such force. This is just sick. The windshield on the NYPD vehicle cracked. Mr. Davis fell onto the street, lost consciousness. Mr. Davis awoke to defendants Leandrakis, Roberts, Adakari, placing handcuffs on him. After the collision, Davis was in pain, complaining of dizziness as more cops arrived on scene, who would end up as defendants in the lawsuit. He was also bleeding. He could hardly walk. Well, you have somebody do a pit maneuver, basically. What is that from behind? But you know what I'm saying. You get hit by a car, fly into the air, have your head crack the windshield, and you probably can't walk too well. Ambulance arrived 20 minutes later, conducted a quick evaluation, but the cops insisted on taking him to jail instead of allowing him to be transported to a local hospital. As a result, and in addition to other injuries, Mr. Davis suffered permanent hearing impairment and ongoing pain and soreness to his body. I already know who's going to pay for this. He remained locked up in a cell for several hours before he was released with several charges, including reckless driving, reckless endangerment, aggravated unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle, driving the wrong direction on a one-way street, driving a motor vehicle without a license. In the criminal complaint filed against Davis, Leandrakis claimed Davis had crashed into a police vehicle that was attempting to avoid the collision. Folks, this is, I often wish they would bring The Sopranos back for another season. We've got it, baby, in New York with this response team. That's how sick this is. Gee whiz. He was apparently, though, unaware that the incident was captured on video, showing that if anybody was guilty of reckless driving and endangerment, it was him. Lawsuit states the reckless driving charge against Davis was dismissed September 12, 2023, but does not elaborate on the other charges. And a search through the online court system for New York City shows no mention of any charges against Davis. Day after the crash, NYPD Sergeant Ernest Hernandez, one of the cops who showed up on the scene after the incident, went along with Leandrakis' lies, filling out and signing a police accident report, claiming Leandrakis was unable to avoid the crash. Elliott, this is not bad policing. It's, unfortunately, it's pretty normal these days, too many incidents. This is criminal activity. I don't even like that we had to mention the law enforcement. Here's what happened. Some criminals were hunting people who were minding their business, and they decided to crash into them, endangering other lives, and they could have killed this man, and then they lied about it. This was actually a story, forget NYPD, although it's one and the same in this instance. This is a story about criminal activity and mafiosa behavior. What say you?
100%. I mean, they hit this guy, and then they, instead of letting him go to the hospital where he might talk, they go, okay, well, we're going to just take you with us instead. And then we're going to pile on all these charges to kind of smother anything that you might be able to say otherwise. So, yeah. And I think also just the whole idea of these unmarked cars, it's bad enough that we have unmarked officers, whether it's police officers or ICE in particular, walking around and confusing citizens and putting them in positions where they panic. But like a car as well, you see somebody following you and then hitting you, you emotionally, psychologically, you're already going to be freaking out, and then you have this kind of physical result as well, and it's just an absolute nightmare. So whatever this department is, that's like the community response team, that almost sounds like a joke at this point, where I'm sure they have to, like, behind closed doors, joke a little bit about it, because it does seem like this is a task force that is solely meant to make people's lives worse in that city.
Hey, look, when I first read the words community response team, I thought these are the ones that we had the cute videos. They usually are the kickers on the local news. They are playing basketball with the kids, and they're giving out candy and keeping them safe, and they just won't be friends. Instead of, again, keeping with the theme of the jump out boys. This is, it's urban terrorism is what it is. It comes in many forms. I just think this is yet another. Last word for you.
No, absolutely. And I hope this guy continues to recover. I also think that if you're in New York City, maybe now is a great time to look at mayoral candidates that might actually look into community task forces and fund them properly and staff them with people who are able to handle mental health crises.
Yeah. And when you say look at the candidates, there's a couple of them there. There's the outgoing mayor who was seen with a guy who was accused of sexual harassment and another candidate at a basketball game. They left the debate and they were sitting courtside at the Knicks. Okay. I didn't see Spike Lee in the picture. And then there's the guy who smiles and tells people, please don't send me any more of your small donations. We're good. We just want to go grassroots here, and let's get this thing done together. It's not me, it's you. It's about you and our community. So when they're evaluating these candidates, they might want to, I just think a picture tells 1,000 words. The one guy's always smiling, he's happy. He's not trying to rip people off. He's not in bed with turkey. He's not trying to be a dictator. Old people aren't dying in nursing homes during COVID. He's just trying to do the right thing, which means, boy, they're going to keep targeting him. They're ganging up on him. It's crazy. This is indisputable. Elliott Morgan, soon to be Dr. Elliott Morgan. And when you do become a full-fledged doctor, I'm going to ask the team. I mean, what do I know? I just show up here and fill in sometimes. I'll ask Doc if he could please, and the team, I wanted to say doctor because you've earned it. And
Okay,
you may
great.
not want that. But I think if we could do that, that's be good.
Absolutely.
They said they'll do it.
I'm gonna have a white coat. I want a Sharpie that just says doctor on it. It's gonna be
What
ridiculous.
about the thing that they wear around their neck?
Oh, say yes, stethoscope. See, I'm already ready.
I love it. And we love you. And we love our audience. We'll get some of your comments when we come right back. Much more show coming up.
I don't care if you're Christian. In fact, I will fight for you to have your religious liberty and practice your Christianity. I believe in that. I don't believe in Christianity, which means that you do not get to dictate the way I live my life based on your religion. I don't care what the Bible says. You have every right in the world. All those women who identify with your religion have every right in the world to not get an abortion, to not take birth control, but they do not have the right to dictate my life and what I decide to do with my body. I don't care about your goddamn religion. I'm so tired of having nonstop conversations about what the Bible says. You live your life in the way that you interpret the Bible. Again, I don't care, but you don't get to take the Bible and tell me, well, the Bible says this in this chapter, in this verse. I don't care. I don't care. I don't believe in it. And I have the right, based on our Constitution, to not believe in it.
Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do.
No one is representing what I call the silent majority, which is about 2/3 of this country, indisputably progressive.
But now we say the time has come for regime change in American television.
The Young Turks Network.
You know, you have the Young Turks saying this is the time to fight for our values.
Young Turks is the oldest left media institution I believe that there is. Real front runner in the online media space.
You guys might know us.
Biggest online left of center outlet that exists.
All of you know the Young Turks.
People from this district heard about Justice Democrats by watching your show.
Thanks to the Young Turks for covering Trayvon Martin's case early on when few people were covered.
They don't stop, I won't stop. Racism won't stop, so I won't stop.
Species are at risk of going extinct. Major media outlets did not dedicate much time at all to that.
We reached a whole heap of people with our progressive message.
We're not the Young Turks, you're the Young Turks.
300 million is a pretty good number, Well, that's the size of the US population. You know what our next target is? The size of the entire world.
We just crossed 5 billion views on YouTube.
I mean, imagine 10 years ago thinking one day we would have looked at you like, are you nuts?
Young Turks has just passed another milestone. 25 billion lifetime views.
Damn.
Whoa, too strong, way too strong. That's 25 billion times someone watched the progressive message delivered to people all over the world. You know who helped to do that? You guys did. Our members and our audience are amazing, and they helped us to reach 2 generations, both millennials and Gen Z. They're both super progressive. And I gotta tell you, we're just getting started. Thank you.
Corruption, injustice, the system is rigged against you. Every day we're blasted by a flurry of terrible news from every angle, which can make it challenging to stay positive and know how to fight back. The Damage Report is your solution. I'm Johnny DeRola, and my daily morning show cuts through the noise and exposes the real damage being done to our country, the world, and how we can fight back against it. Corporate greed crushing workers? We'll name names. Politicians selling you out for their corporate overlords? We've got the receipts. Climate disaster, economic collapse, the rise of fascism. No spin, no establishment talking points, just the truth that you need to survive and resist. But it's not all doom and gloom. We'd love to have you join the Dragon Squad, our community of positive-minded activists who turn the day's news into positive action. With new episodes every weekday, listen to The Damage Report to get honest news, unflinching commentary, and daring coverage you won't find anywhere else. Listen to The Damage Report on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, because understanding the damage is the first step.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Elliott Morgan is with us. Love having you. I'm Sharon Reed. I'm surprised Doc keeps letting us, well, me, I just mind the store, but he's equal opportunity. And we love that about you, Doc. And we love this audience. I'm going to get to your comments, but first let's talk about Chapter. And it's a good time to talk about it because it's Medicare annual enrollment time. So if you're 64 or older, pay attention. Some good information. You've probably already gotten tired of the spam calls, the junk mail flooding in. It's easy to tune it all out, but we have to remind you that this stuff actually matters, folks. Here's what you need to know. Medicare plans change every single year. Many are canceled for 2026, so you can't just rely on what you knew before. If you don't review your options, you will risk overpaying or perhaps even losing coverage that you desperately need. That's why I'm telling you about our trusted Medicare partner, Chapter. These folks are different. They look at every plan in the country, not just the ones that pay big commissions, to find what truly fits your life, your needs, your budget. It's quick, it's easy. Chapter can review your options in under 20 minutes. If your plan's already the best one for you, they're going to tell you that too. There's no games being played here. If not, they'll help you switch, and it is worth it. We've learned, according to Chapter, people average $1,100 in savings, often much more, so it's well worth it. Call Chapter, 800-965-4108, 800-965-4108 to make sure you're protected and make sure you're ready for 2026. I'd call today if I were you, and you can always find the number. Just go to tyt.com and, we've got it there for you. We'll repeat it for you. I'd call today because there's so many things that are making us sick right now. Most are centered around a certain address in DC. Did he get a permit for that? Just knocking down the East Wing? I mean, I look at it this way. My ancestors built it for free, okay? But this is all of our history, right? When you go knocking things down, are you archiving? Are you looking through? Is there somebody put a note in there? Help, get me out of here. Something, you know what I mean? You can't just do this. But maybe you can if you're allowed, and no one in Congress will step up. It's my 2 cents. My 2 cents. All right, let's get to yours. TYT members first. Neon Death 07. Atlanta Black Star does better national reporting than other national press outlets. I agree with you. It's a treasure of a publication. I like to think of it as our sister unofficial publication because they break a lot of stories. They drop some real knowledge. So yeah, here's to you, Atlanta Black Star. We appreciate you. Next TYT reporter. Someone stopped Grandpa. He escaped the home. Got a microphone somehow. It's funny what you just wrote. Next TYT report. It's not true. I was going to say I try not to disparage people based on age, but I've done it and I cop to it. Now my dad is getting up there, and he's a grandpa. I've never heard my dad ramble like this. He's still the same stories about Buffalo soldiers and things that interest him. He's a scholar, if you will. My dad has never sounded like that guy did in the people's house or garden or wherever he was. And then people stood up and they clapped Elliott. They acted like he said something so profound. There was no four scores there was no, I have a dream. He said utter nonsense. And for that, he got a standing ovation, and they fell in line for dear leader. I don't get it. I don't want to get it. Nick, the Silver Flame Dragon, says top spot. Lincoln was assassinated. Jack Arse. Am I allowed to say that? It's true. Something about a movie theater. Pres Trumpies bigly mad. Why you mad, boo? Okay, Devil Bear Hawkturian, thank you for your contribution as well. Stephen A, Neon Death 07, straight shooter. We'll get to the rest of your comments coming up, but already I like them. I like them a lot, and we appreciate you greatly. You all are, frankly, when I'm on the show, you keep me somewhat balanced, although some of your comments, they get me off kilter a little bit. But then I come right back to the people's work. This show is a mirror of what's out there. Doc has put together some incredible segments that we can rely on to warn us about the worst that's out there in the wild. This is the people's work. It's really a public service announcement. Every day to bring you another installment of what's out there, multiplying, growing, early warning. Wish there was a vaccine. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
I never called you a bitch.
Yes, you did.
And you're calling me a... We're going to make you famous, lady.
Hey, please
Does
do.
Kroger do business with us?
Ice, baby.
No. Yeah, well, I'm an American citizen. I'm a veteran of the United States. I'm going to be calling the company. You hear her? She's saying ice, baby. She thinks I'm illegal. I'm a veteran of the United States of America.
Yeah.
I bet you can't say that for yourself, huh?
These damn Karens. And when they're off their meds, there's no cure. I can tell you that right now, there's no cure. When they're off their meds, it's heightened and they're manic and it just gets even worse. Vileness. Racist Karen sings Ice, Ice, Baby to taunt a Latina Army vet. You know, that's what we're doing here. Which is it? Do you support the services, the armed services, or are you against them? Which is it? Are you burning flags? Or are you supporting our veterans? Racist Karen there, taunting the Latina Army vet. Now some are calling for, well, a boycott. They want a boycott here because they've had enough. The incident reportedly took place in Nashville. They just always have this puzzled look on their face and the furrowed eyebrow, and they're just so flustered, Elliott. And I do sometimes wonder what's going on in that little brain. What is going on in there? Is there a bunch of stuff going on? Sometimes I have a bunch of people in here talking, okay? Is that what's going on there? Only evils mixed in?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of brain rot. I think a certain generation has been spending a lot of time on Facebook over the years, and they are fully in their algorithm and they have a very skewed perception of reality. And then they go out into reality and something like this happens. Yeah, the smiling, the always with the smiling, it blows my mind. Like, why is that your go-to reaction? And I think it's because it's trolling. Like, they love the idea of being able to get under people's skin and being able to appear as though they're like unfazed by it or like not aware that they're on camera. But it doesn't work. Like, you can tell that you're just kind of doing this sort of like 7-year-old maturity level thing. And it is always the same. It's like they all got together and we're like, all right, this is how we're going to respond anytime this kind of confrontation happens.
So they're putting on a show. They're putting on a performance is what they're doing. And I think, I don't know what is it a dissertation or defending something, or you're doing that? I don't know what the subject is. And you probably told me, so forgive me. But I know one thing. I already know your next project and you should get a massive grant for it, because I think you just said something today that none of us made the link. Facebook. This is it. Seriously. This is Facebook. If we line it up, we do the timeline here about when this Karenicity really started to explode, right? And they're multiplying and multiplying with the algorithms. I think you're right. You just discovered something that has to be delved into, well, on a much deeper level. So take a bow, sir.
Thank you.
Take a bow.
Thank you so
Is this
much.
something that you just blurted out or you've been giving much thought to?
I have heard the idea. I would give credit to whoever I heard it from if I remembered. But yeah, there's a pretty large school of thought that the social media impacts, especially now with AI too, and the algorithms, that it's really just actually changing people's chemical structures in their brains. And I think that you can see it on full display with these types of videos. So, there you go. Thank you for that, Karens.
Yeah, I do hope you discover the source, though. I know when you all do these documents, some people put the citations down. I don't want you to get called out. But it's profound. Okay, it's profound. We're going to move on to this. Christian nationalists justify and praise. Why are you people just blurting nonsense out? Oh, maybe you believe it. Justify and praise enslaving Black people. Your reparations are that you get to live in America. Christian nationalists justify and praise enslaving Black people. Watch this.
Hey, cut it out. You need to grow up. Stop throwing a fit. You're throwing a tantrum. Stop being a little boy. You're whining and crying about something that's ultimately your fault.
Yeah.
Stop blaming it on other people. It's your fault. Because here's the deal. It's like, well, slavery. The richest Black people on God's green earth are African Americans. If slavery never happened, then you would be in a grass hut.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we need reparations. Your reparations are that you get to live in America. You're welcome.
There you have it. There's just no further discussion needed. That was Joel Webbon, controversial head pastor of Covenant Bible Church in Austin, Texas. Webbon went on to say that although Europeans committed sins during the colonial era, they still worshiped Jesus Christ, introduced the gospel of the Holy Bible to much of the world that was worshiping demons. Webbon responded to the clip by posting a 4-minute video claiming it showed the full context of his comments. How could it really be out of context, the little clip we played? Since that right-wing watch is being deceitful here. Stop it, Webbon. Most thought his full-length video from the podcast just made matters worse. It's not helping to get you out of this. Your context just makes it worse. Just a white man in 2025 trying to justify slavery and colonialism, one ex-user wrote. This is worse. My man, I personally cannot wait for racism to end, but until then, there's no world where a white person can tell a Black person how to feel or respond to generational trauma from slavery, somebody else commented. And we've covered Webbon's remarks on Indisputable before. Like this, he once asserted, if given the choice between a white and Black physician, he would choose the white doctor, stating that if there's a chance that one of them was not qualified and was given a free pass, it'd be the Black guy. I know that young white guy, there's no way he got a free pass. You see how they just flip it? The lie becomes the truth. Far-right church leader also claimed Black people were 30 times more dangerous than white people and advised Black parents to teach their kids that many Black children and teens are reprobates and misbehaved and rebellious toward authority. Christian nationalist podcaster Joshua Hames also recently said Christians must be willing to defend the institution of slavery. Look at this guy with his mustache. Listen.
The institution of slavery is not inherently evil. I know. Some of you guys are upset by that. Some of you guys are saying, I've been saying that for years. Okay, I'll take it a step further. It is not inherently evil to own another human being. I know, just wait. Some of you guys are really upset, but let's talk through this because it is very important that every Christian affirm what I just said. And not only should they affirm it, every Christian in today's society should be able to defend what I just said, okay? Every Christian should be able to defend it. Big evangelicalism has been getting this wrong for years, basically since the Genesis, since the advent of Big Eva. They haven't had a good answer for the slavery issue. All right, Christians in America have been led astray on this topic. They've been led to believe things that the Bible doesn't teach. And when we go beyond the Bible, there are dire consequences.
The reason I mentioned the mustache is because I can't help it. I blurt things out when I see them. And when that popped up on the screen, I thought, well, this is some kind of SNL caricature. This is some kind of silly one of these shows that does these skits. And his musical emphasis after he says such blubbery, it doesn't help. Can you make any sense of these folks and what they're spewing about slavery? It's about more than just making white people feel good. It's a grift, I think, Elliott. And it's just seems, again, theatrical, like a performance to me, but perhaps you have more insight.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a performance. I think that, if I were to diagnose these guys, I would say that they're, racist losers. And that's a technical term. So I don't think it requires much explanation, but I would go with that. Also, I've never seen this Joshua Hames guy, but where did they get this production value? Because that's like a really nice looking set. And I do think that's kind of part of it on the right wing media ecosphere is what they lack in any kind of like integrity or substance they make up for in like really warm lighting. But in terms of what he said regarding slavery in the Bible, like he is correct in that the Bible does not go against slavery. It condones slavery like throughout. And so if that's the angle you want to take on that, you can. I don't think that's the lesson. I think the lesson is that we as a society have recognized throughout our history that certain things are wrong, and we have actually gone against the Bible, and slavery is one of those examples. So that would be, I think, a more ethical stance, but I don't know that that would generate all of the sweet AdSense that this guy is trying to get from Rumble or whatever he's on.
No, and I think there are people who would say, look at this guy. He's an inch away from his, PhD, and he's preaching to us and trying to make sense. And we're not trying to be technical here, Elliott.
Right.
I think that's what they would say. They just want to be free to enjoy this history, this colonialism, slavery, pain, trauma, and Black inferiority. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't cite the person before when I was talking out of my tush about Facebook, but there is a book called The Bible Tells Me So by Dan McClellan, which people can check out. And that covers many of these hot topics from the perspective of a biblical scholar. And it's a really good read, and people should read it, except maybe not that guy, because it might not be the best idea to put something like that in his hands, because I think he'll just agree with all of the bad things that the Bible actually does say. So that's my take.
I think you're right. There's people who are going to take that book, no matter what you believe, and they're going to twist it, and then they're going to spin it, and it's going to say what they need it to say because it needs to fit their business model, okay? It needs to fit their culture wars and everything else. There you have it. All right, well, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll get to more of your comments. The great soon-to-be Dr. Elliott Morgan is with us. I'm going to read that book, by the way, because I actually like to learn things. Not everybody does. And I think we have to come to terms with that in America. Learning, reading, the ability to change one's mind, those are not things to be celebrated anymore. But they're in my house. So thank you, Elliott.
Absolutely.
Much more indisputable when we come right back.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Rich and powerful men abusing, assaulting, and abandoning young women. These rich and powerful men donate to the politicians in Washington, D.C., play golf with the elites in Washington, D.C. They are foreign leaders who we don't want to offend. They interact with our intelligence agencies that we don't want to disobey. There is something rotten in Washington.
And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
All those congressmen you just saw there are on the record as protecting the child rapists who were clients of Epstein. They have not prosecuted a single person outside of Epstein and Maxwell.
Yep.
Not one.
Is Trump engaging in this cover-up because he's in the Epstein files?
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
So as the government keeps telling us, yeah, there's other people. Yeah, they raped those girls. So what? We're gonna cover up for them. But why are you guys so mad?
A nation that chooses impunity for the rich and the powerful at the expense of our children is a nation that has lost its moral purpose. Are you on the side of the people? Are you on the side of America's children? Or are you on the side of the rich and powerful who've had their thumb on the scales and shafted Americans for decades?
The rest of the news media says you should not fight for positive change. If you do, you're not really a reporter or a journalist, because reporters and journalists don't care what happens. I don't agree. That's not written anywhere. That's not a law. It's just a rule that they invented so that reporters didn't actually challenge the people that are in power. Well, we don't agree with that. We think we should challenge the people in power, that actually makes you a better journalist, not a worse one.
In a media landscape poisoned by corporate influence, only one show stands apart from the rest, The Young Turks. As the longest running daily news show on the internet, The Young Turks is an impactful voice of unfiltered truth, one you can trust to deliver the daily news with authenticity and honesty. For nearly 2 decades, TYT has been breaking the mold of media. We're not here to echo the powerful or the elite, we're here to challenge them. Our mission is to give you accurate news, fight the establishment, and cover stories that mainstream media keeps you in the dark about, which matter to your everyday life. We've remained a leader in online news because of our established credibility with an engaged audience looking for alternative media that represents the real concerns of everyday Americans. Listen to The Young Turks, a news show that only answers to you on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
How do you know if you're a populist? Easy. Do you work for the donor class? You don't? Great, you're a populist. Okay, so the establishment takes money from the donors and serves the donors. Mainstream media takes money from advertisers, and they are giant corporations themselves, and they work for themselves, and they work for the powerful. If you care about the average person, and you want the average person to have better health care, better wages, a better life, and you hate corruption, congrats, you're a populist.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Elliott Morgan is our special guest co-host today. I am Sharon Reed, and let's get to more of your comments. There's a lot of comments today. We love that. Christian nationalist. Nightmare 316, our fault? Is this troll mental? Yes, he is. He's mental. Okay, can we let's put a period there. Next TYT reporter, how stupid do you have to be to think that just because the white man didn't enslave them, Black people were never going to advance on their own? How incredibly stupid. Dana Manning, OMG, your reparations are that you get to live in America? They were brought here without consent in the first place. Shaking my damn head. Dildo Dragon, $10 says these idiots have the Grindr app on their phones. I don't have. I've never looked at Grindr, and I don't even want to put you in a position where you have to say yay or nay, Elliott. I don't want to know your married guy and you're doing, I've set it up the wrong way.
I got to
If you
swipe
know
left on a few people. Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you know anything about this grinder, from research, we'll say, do you believe those white Christian nationalists have it on their phone?
Yeah, I'm sure Grindr is thriving in whatever county they're in, based on the data, I would say.
And that's what I was really asking. Again, I'm not trying to uncover anything that may or may not be, and I probably is not. I don't even want to say I'm implying it could be in your background or anything, and nor do I care. Whatever wants to get down, okay? We better move on. Don't bring up Grindr again, please. You can talk about anything. But I get so curious about some of these things. Okay. Now I'm going to look it up. Should I look it up? If it's not evil, let's reverse the role and you be the slave. If you can't do it, then guess what? X-Dog, the security dragon. Good point. Now, the radical dragon. Yes and no. The Bible has many rules for how you are to treat your slave, almost all of which American-style slavery totally violates. It's like saying that the Bible condones adultery because Jesus saved one adulteress from being stoned. You guys are dropping some science. Okay, we're going to get back into it. Let's go to high school, shall we? High school baseball star walks free after sexually assaulting multiple victims. Oklahoma teen who was facing nearly 80 years behind bars after being convicted of raping. Behind bars after being convicted of sexually assaulting 2 high school girlfriends. But now he will avoid any prison time. Wow. 18-year-old Jesse Mack Butler is his name. As the case has made headlines, social media users are livid, and boy, are they responding.
If you do not believe in white privilege, just listen to this. Right here is an 18-year-old who was facing 78 years in prison. He will no longer serve even 1 day. This violent monster behind me, his name is Jesse Mack Butler. I want you to guess what he did. He violently assaulted 2 16-year-old girls. He viciously assaulted these girls multiple times. One of these times, he strangled the 16-year-old girl so bad that her doctor said if he choked her for 30 seconds more, she would be dead. In March of this year, he was charged as an adult with 10 crimes. 2 counts of RAPE. 3 counts of RAPE using instrumentation, 1 count of S battery, 2 counts of domestic assault by strangulation, and 1 count of domestic assault and battery. In January of last year, a 16-year-old said that he attacked her multiple times. When he refused to sleep with her, he attacked her. Doctors told her family that she would need surgery to repair the damage on her neck.
That's a lot, and it's hard to hear. But Oklahoma teen who was facing 80 years behind bars after being convicted, sexually assaulting 2 high school girlfriends, has dodged prison altogether under a shocking sweetheart plea deal, sparking outrage among the victims' parents and lawmakers. Jesse Mack Butler, age 18, avoided jail time last week over the spate of 6 attacks on the 2 16-year-old girls in Stillwater in early 2024, including one victim close to death after being choked unconscious. News 9 reporting this. Initially, Butler, then 17, was charged as an adult, slapped with 10 felony counts, including sexual assault, attempted assault, sexual battery, assault. Baseball player pleaded not guilty to all charges, but later struck a deal with the DA's office to change his status from adult to youthful offender, because that's looking out for the rest of society. That's helpful to the women he'll encounter in the future. Butler, who is the son of a... Here we go. Butler, who is the son of a prominent local sports coach, switched his plea to no contest after a judge signed off on the deal. Was it over a card game at one of their homes? Family potluck dinner? In the photo, Butler can be seen outside the courtroom with his mother and sister. I want to be careful, ladies. Sorry, but he's the one accused of such grossness. Under local laws, the youth plea deal meant Butler was sentenced last week to just 1 year of rehabilitation and community service, despite facing roughly 78 years in the slammer. By giving him youthful offender status, all the prison time went away. Just like that. The attacks on the two girls unfolded early last year when they each dated the sports star, according to court documents. First victim telling investigators Butler repeatedly sexually assaulted her, choked her when she tried to refuse during their 3-month relationship. Her doctor said she had to undergo surgery to repair damage to her neck after being choked, that she would have died if the choking had lasted another 30 seconds, were papers charge. Other victim reported that she too had been choked until she passed out. Police later found a video on Butler's phone of him choking the girl. Hey, you know what? Do you understand what we're dealing with here? It was bad enough, but when you put the fact that this clown, this disgusting trash box, took out a phone and recorded it, this is a special kind of offender, folks. This is who he is. And there's a real problem letting something like this back out into society with the rest of us. It's right there. We have the terms of Butler's rehabilitation plan. It includes daily check-ins. I'm sure he'll abide by that. A curfew. No social media, along with counseling and community service. We don't abort. We do not need him in the community serving anyone. We do not need him serving any of the community. It's appalling. The mother of one of the victims told Daily Mail, slap on the wrist sentence. I received similar punishments for breaking curfew when I was a teenager, she added. It's a complete injustice to these girls and the future victims because unfortunately, statistically, won't end. Not only are you giving a slap in the face of these survivors, you are potentially putting other women at risk by not holding him accountable. Hell, not holding him at all. The mom of the second victim also ripped the joke punishment. Photos of one of the victims in the hospital has been made public now. Statement from the mother. It's not equivalent to what he did to them, she said. I told the DA I don't want him to get away with this because I cannot know that another mother is going to have to go through what I went through, she continued. New York Post filling in the reporting. So I would like to just go on the record and not play any games here, Elliott. Women and girls don't matter, okay? To the DA's office, to the perhaps kind of famous coach and the vile offspring of that coach in this story, the principal of this story. We just need to, let's just let the women and girls know in this area and beyond, you don't matter. What say you?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I think when you look at that photo too, I mean, I cannot believe that photo of him standing or sitting outside the courtroom wearing just these ridiculous sunglasses. And then he's got the mom and the sister sort of lording over him like they're gargoyles protecting him. Like this should be a painting. It's like there's a subreddit called Accidental Renaissance, but there's like a lot to unpack from that. And it's not an accidental renaissance in a good way. This is an example of someone who is an absolute monster, and it really shouldn't be this complicated. And those parents should be ashamed of themselves. The family should be ashamed of themselves. Obviously, he should be ashamed of himself. I'm incredibly interested in the fact that they found that he had recorded these crimes and what exactly his intentions were after recording them. And I also am highly doubtful that he'll actually be off of a social media, let alone the internet. I think that this kid has grown up and had very little rules and now is a bad apple. And rather than take care of it and remove him from society, they are doing what these people do, which is protect their own and say, hey, you know, kids will be kids. It's like Vance when all those text messages leaked of the young Republican leaders. Hey, it's no big deal. Who cares if they're 35 years old? They're just children. So it's infuriating.
And they said some disgusting things that would be aligned with this vile character. I see, this is another reason why it's so important to have you on the show. I was getting so worked up with just having to go through and chronicle, which we need to do for the audience. Again, this is a mirror. But can we put the picture back up that Elliott's talking about? You're so right. Look at the sister. I want you to take a look at the sister. Let's just start there. A picture is worth more than 1,000 words, folks. Okay. You take a real good look and then go back and review this clip on tyt.com, YouTube. Look at the sister. Who are you guarding? Your brother is a hideous, vile person who's done horrible things. And there you have mom, and my opinion in looking at the picture, mom is apathetic. She just kind of goes along with it and never, just this is either you're going to have a voice or you're not. Okay, there it is. And there's the guy in the middle. Take it away.
The symbolism too of him just sitting down the entire time while his family is the one that stands up for him, quite literally here. I mean, it is really darkly poetic and terrible.
The glass is all of it. You're so right. This tells the story. You are not safe as long as this person's out there. And you know what? I don't know if you can rehabilitate people who do these kinds of acts. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. We'll never know, though. You're not going to be rehabilitated when everybody supports your wrongdoing. America, look at your life. But this one right here, baby, this is, you want to rank something. This one's right up there. And the profile probably matches some other horrific crimes that we've studied over the decades. Sick. Okay. When you don't hold people accountable, this just rolls right into this next one. They do other things because there's no fear. Well, they have to be worried about. They'll get out of it. They got privilege. Pardoned J6 rioter arrested for threatening Hakeem Jeffries. According to officers in New York, pardoned January 6 rioter has been arrested for threatening to kill House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Give you the screenshot, source from video of Christopher Monahan inside the Capitol on January 6th. What's he doing? He's very interested in these papers. Oh, well, I'll tell you. Monahan was convicted of obstructing an official proceeding in 2022 after he broke through a security perimeter and entered the Capitol. What does he have there? Well, upstate New York man pardoned by President Donald Trump for his actions at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, allegedly threatened to kill House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, according to the New York State Police. Christopher Monahan, age 34, of Clinton, arrested Saturday, charged with making a terroristic threat, police said. He is the first pardoned Capitol rioter to be arrested over alleged political violence. In the criminal complaint, investigators quoted text messages allegedly sent to Monahan on October 17th. He allegedly sent to an unidentified recipient. We have the text. Hakeem Jeffries makes a speech in a few days in New York City. I cannot allow this terrorist to live, one message allegedly said, according to the complaint. Even if I am hated, he must be eliminated, Moynihan wrote, according to the complaint. I will kill him for the future. We're seeing so much of this. We're seeing so much of this. I hope the same people who spoke out against political violence when we saw the public assassination, the public murder of Charlie Kirk are all over this one, because we're seeing too much of this. Text messages placed in the recipient in reasonable fear of the imminent murder and assassination of Hakeem Jeffries by the defendant. Complaint stated, Moynihan appeared in the town of Clinton Court, where he was remanded to the Dutchess County Justice and Transition Center in lieu of $10,000 cash bail. I don't know why it would only be $10,000. He's the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries. He's scheduled to make his first appearance in Dutchess County State Supreme Court on Thursday. Not immediately clear whether he had hired a lawyer. Jeffries, a Democrat out of New York, said in a statement on Tuesday he is, quote, grateful to state and federal law enforcement for their swift and decisive action to apprehend a dangerous individual who made a credible death threat against me with every intention to carry it out. Prosecutors say he entered the Senate gallery and paged through a notebook on top of a senator's desk, took photos with his cell phone. I believe it was Ted Cruz. During the riot, he said, there's got to be something in here we can effing use against these bags, according to prosecutors. Court filings from when he was charged included screenshots from a video showing Moynihan in the Capitol on January 6th. Moynihan was sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison in February 2023 before he and more than 1,500 others who had been convicted or otherwise charged in connection with the J6 riot received a pardon hours after Donald Trump took office for a second time. So yeah, these are just good people. You're very brave. We love you very much. What did Trump say when Ivanka's mother, who was left, who hadn't walked out by then, tried to get him? Just speak to camera, Dad, and just say, go home. You're very good people. We love you very much. No accountability. And then you get a new lease on life. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Does the pardon mean it's wiped off or it never happened? I don't know what it means, but you got a new lease. And what did you do with it? You said you were going to kill Hakeem Jeffries. So, hey, equal justice under the law. I'll tee it up like that to you, Elliott. It's just equal justice under the law.
Yeah, I think the party of law and order maybe could do with a little bit more law and order, but I don't know. I mean, maybe this guy just changed his political views recently, because I was under the impression that everybody during January 6th were Antifa. So, I mean, this is wild. He must have been reading something. I don't know. I thought, who knows? Or I thought they were there because they were being patriots and they were just celebrating everything. So I'm getting a little confused. I guess maybe he just kind of became radicalized as a result afterward. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what you would expect to have happen. People went in there with a violent intent. They got away with it, and they got away with the crime, but the violent intent is still there. And so I think also, if you're sending these text messages out as like a ha-ha joke and a troll, if the person you sent them to thinks that you're actually capable of carrying this out, maybe you're actually capable of carrying it out, and maybe you should go to, prison for a little while and not be pardoned. But I agree. I have no idea what pardoning actually means, and whether it's actually expunged from your record or whether it's something that, gets knocked down. I'm sure commenters could tell us.
Yeah. For what we do know is it's not a deterrent, apparently.
No.
Okay. It's just not a deterrent. And I don't know if everybody who got this new lease after breaking into, what about the guy who had on all that fur, the shaman guy? And he had the horns, and he the one that had his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk? I don't know. Not everybody has. Some are remorseful. I think we've reported some have expressed remorse, but not this guy, and not this time. Maybe he'll get pardoned again if from jumping the gun, if he's convicted. This is indisputable. Elliott Morgan is our special guest co-host today. We love having him on the show. Doc has the day off. I'm Sharon Reed. Much more to come.
There's one reason why healthcare is so messed up in this country, and that's because of our money in politics situation. Because those industries that are deeply corrupt can just simply purchase all of Congress. And then the problem never gets fixed because of that bribery. Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it's greed, and it's the greed of politicians, right? I mean, so everything they do is dictated by the donors and the money. I mean, I shouldn't say that, not everything. A lot of what they do is, and I do think that there are people who do things in spite of the fact that they have to raise money and often don't get that money and often don't win because they don't, but are in there fighting for ideals that they believe in. Bernie Sanders is certainly an example of someone like that.
I'm back to gaslighting. Did you and I talk about gaslighting on Old School?
Probably.
That boss gaslit all his female employees. People who manipulate others like that make you feel like you're the weirdo. Why won't you punch yourself in the face? What is wrong with you? And you're like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Why didn't I just punch myself in the face and poke my eye out? I'm 47 and I just figured it out like earlier this year.
You figured out somebody was doing it to you, or that you were
that it was that it would have been happening my whole life and I didn't realize it.
Right.
You want to know the 3 shows that I'm watching lately? Shogun, Anjin-san. Those guys are badasses. Then you go to the Duttons, Yellowstone. Now, they don't always do it right, but they are badasses. But the 3rd show has the biggest badasses of all, the Young Turks. Live every weekend. Sick that I was so good. God damn it. Okay, live. Weekdays at 6 o'clock Eastern. That's what I meant. Anjin-san. How do you know if you're a populist? Easy. Do you work for the donor class? You don't? Great, you're a populist. Okay, so the establishment takes money from the donors and serves the donors. Mainstream media takes money from advertisers, and they are giant corporations themselves, and they work for themselves, and they work for the powerful. If you care about the average person, and you want the average person to have better health care, better wages, a better life, and you hate corruption, congrats, you're a populist.
All right, Amazon Prime members, here's how you can subscribe for free on Twitch. Start by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and then click that little subscribe or resubscribe button below the stream on Twitch. Scroll down and select the subscribe free with Prime button, and then you're finished. Close out immediately and share your little subscription alert with the chat. Send a cute message along with it, and bathe in the sweet, twitchy, Bezos-funded love. Hashtag Bezos Bucks.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has a day off. Elliott Morgan is here. More of your comments about the baseball star. I hate even calling him that. He's so gross, who sexually assaulted 2 women. Should have been facing like 80 years instead. And do some community service. What organization wants to accept him into their program? Dildo Dragon says Brock Turner 2.0, absolutely disgusting. Of course, Brock Turner, one-time Stanford student, sexually assaulted a co-ed, and I believe a judge was recalled for the ridiculous sentence there. We don't want to ruin his life. Oh, such a great kid. No, he's a vile, violent assaulter of women. Neon Death 07, he will do it again. Yep. Tech nauseated. He'll be working for ICE in no time. I can't argue with these comments. Neon Death 07, again, put his name, his actions everywhere. He won't get recruited, nor will any AA or AAA teams. I don't know about that. Now, Neon Death, I rock with you, but I don't know that the MLB and the farm teams and I don't know if they won't accept him. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen poor behavior excused because someone could swing a bat or pitch, at an amazing speed. So I don't know if I can co-sign on that one. Devil Bear Hocturian, Thank you very much for being part of the TYT family. He skipped jail, but won't get chance of college baseball nor pro baseball. Again, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. X dog, I don't know if I can read it. Only because I'd love to, but I'm afraid the network might get targeted, sued or something. And if I say it, I don't have anything. Come get me. I'll just say that you referenced someone who summoned a bunch of generals back to a room and he just bloviated him and his boss for like an hour plus. And I can't say that I blame you. Okay. One more, Dana Manning. Trauma and fear his victims are feeling right now is real and horrific. Yes, it is. Let's talk about a young breast cancer patient. Well, she's pleading for financial assistance. Here's her story.
I have stage 4 metastatic breast cancer located in 6 parts of my body, and I'm asking a huge favor. So this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I'm trying to raise money for my GoFundMe. So if everyone watching could donate the price of a cup of coffee, I would be able to reach my goal by the end of the week. So let me explain. I'm on chemo 3 weeks out of the month, so I'm unable to work. I have cancer located in 6 parts of my body, and it's located throughout. It's located in my right breast, my right lymph node, the lining of my right lung, my 4th right rib, my tailbone, and my left hip. So it's spread throughout. And in addition to me fighting cancer, I'm also double majoring in history and philosophy. I will graduate from Bradley with a degree in philosophy and a degree in history in May 2026. So if you would like to donate, that would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, I love her. I love her spirit, her fight. And I'm wishing the absolute best. Jessica Myers, part-time student, double majoring, as she said, in philosophy and history at Bradley University. She's living with stage 4 breast cancer. And thank you to the team and doc who wanted to highlight her story during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I see the tube. It's helping her breathe a little better. But I see beyond that. This is a remarkable, resilient young lady, and her spirit is just strong. I'm going to give the money. According to an article written by her school, when Jessica Myers first walked onto Bradley University's campus in the fall of 2005, she was a bright-eyed valedictorian from Kansas City, dreams of becoming an industrial engineer. She'd spent summers studying at Carnegie Mellon, University of Kansas too, preparing herself for the next step. For her, that next step was Bradley. What she didn't expect was the detour life had planned. I left Bradley before graduating because it was the right decision for me at that time, Myers said. Soon after leaving, her grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and Myers cared for her until she passed away. By then, she couldn't afford to return to school. Over the years, she's dreamed of finishing her degree, but it was never the right time. Then, April 2024, Myers was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. At the time, it had already spread to my right breast, lymph nodes, and the lining of my lungs, she said. Within 4 weeks, it reached my rib, hip, and tailbone. It all happened so fast. She was hospitalized for nearly a month. That was one of the darkest times of my life, she recalled. Physical pain was unbearable, but it was the emotional weight that crushed me. I truly believed I was dying. But she didn't give up. With a strong support system, her doctors, her family, a growing community online, Jessica began treatment. As she said, she now undergoes chemotherapy 3 weeks out of every month, lives independently with help from loved ones. I'm still fighting, she said. And I'm still finding beauty in the life I thought I'd lost. Jessica Myers posted on her GoFundMe account that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this year I'm launching a campaign that blends awareness with hope. My dream is to save for a down payment on a house, a safe, steady place where I can heal, study, and live with peace of mind. Well, she already hit her goal of $30,000. The median down payment for a house in America is over twice that amount. So, the link to the GoFundMe will be included in the description. In addition, if you want to help others like Jessica, please also consider supporting I Will Survive, Inc. It's a nonprofit Atlanta breast cancer awareness organization that empowers individuals at higher risk for or affected by breast cancer through financial assistance, prevention, education, and wellness programs. Their donation link will also be included in the description. Oh, Elliott, this network that we both, I can say you love it too, and the family that goes with it. The TYT is so much about a community that supports and uplifts itself, independence. Hate to ask for donations, but this community is such a giving place. And I think it's incredibly brave for this young woman to step before the cameras and not just ask for the money. And I'm going to give. And that doesn't mean everybody has to, but if you can, maybe, if you'll consider it. But that she then chronicled, listing everything that she was dealing with medically. Because as you say it, I'm telling a story. That's not what's going on with me, right? Some things resonate, but this isn't one of them. She's telling her story, saying it. And I think even that's got to be difficult. I just think she's so brave and resilient.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I hope everybody donates to this GoFundMe. I know that my wife is a breast cancer survivor. She was diagnosed like 6 months after we were married, and thankfully, she had a much easier path than something like stage 4. But it does kind of like enter you into this club where you meet these people who are like otherworldly levels of strong. And when you see them and you meet them in person and you're like, wow, these are incredible human beings. And offering help, I think when you can, is like the least you can do, because you're at least somewhat connected to these people and they are incredible. So.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and thank you for sharing that. I don't know if you've shared it here before, but I mean, made me say, wow, because right into your new marriage and having this great love for another human being, we don't often think about the toll it can take.
Yeah, we were very fortunate, but it definitely was like my wife will be like, oh, we did the sickness part before the health part. But yeah, I mean, that was a scary time. But I mean, she had stage 2. And then the people that you meet that deal with like stage 4, and like the medical kind of what I'm blanking out, but like medical experimental clinical trials. There it is. They'll go from clinical trial to clinical trial, always hoping that something works, but usually with the understanding that it rarely will. And that too is just a level of like emotional weight that these people carry with such grace that it's incredible.
Well, again, the focus is on this brave young woman. But before we go, and if it's too much, don't. How did your wife? It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. How did she discover that she had breast cancer?
Great question. Yeah, she had a lump, and she did what a lot of she had breast cancer, and she found on her left side, and then she ignored it for a while, and then went to her gynecologist, and the gynecologist didn't think it was anything, and then she went and got a biopsy, and then kind of all of a sudden, all of the appointments started happening really easily, rather than you were put on a wait list, and that was kind of the first sign that okay, something might be not good here, and that was definitely life changing, and it is life changing for everyone, and especially for young people. And it does seem to be getting younger and younger. I think that any help is well spent.
Wow. Well, I didn't know that about you, so thank you for sharing that. You and your wife, it's appreciated, and it's a reminder
Absolutely.
For all of us to look after ourselves. Don't ignore, advocate, and help where you can. Elliott, tell people where they can find your great work.
Oh, you can find me over at youtube.com/rebelhq or substack.com/Elliott Morgan. But thank you for having me, Sharon.
And your wife, because I never met her, but I'm a fan. Okay.
You can go to youtube.com/Grace Helbig or see her one-woman show about her breast cancer experience, coming to Asheville and Nashville later this week.
Well, we love it. And big ups to both of you. This
you.
is indisputable. I'm Sharon Reed. Thank you, Doc. And thank you for all of your great comments and for kind of just doing the show with us together. It's your show, your network. Hope to see you again.